me say that again. You're not insecure, you're just competitive. Okay, insecurity is a narrative that comes originally from therapy. And oftentimes today you see this in social media, or you see this with people that are trying to punish you to a degree, will label you as insecure over something. Okay, this is weaponized armchair psychology. And if you want to delve into philosophy, like I like to do, it always starts with the first premise. The premise is the assumption that insecurity exists. Insecurity is actually competition. If you're, quote, insecure about your looks or how you're stacking up financially next to the next guy, or if he's taller or whatever, what you're saying is you would just like to be higher status. You would like to have more money. You would like to maximize your looks. You would like to have the physique of that person so that you could get the kind of women that you want, or the kind of lifestyle that you want, or the kind of respect from people. And you'll see this in supermodels, for example. If you've known some very pretty women, you'll know that a lot of the most beautiful women are, quote, insecure about their looks, much more so than perhaps less attractive women. The reason is they're still competing very heavily on their looks, just like most people, guys and girls, around the ages of 13 and 14, really care about their looks. They care about their voice. They care about how attractive they are. And a woman who's been attractive her whole life has developed an entire identity around that. So she's competing very heavily into, her mid-20s or late 20s. There's a TED Talk about a supermodel. She's talking about how insecure herself and her friends are. Well, it's because they're trying to compete to be against some of the most beautiful women in the world, where their defining criteria that gets them paid and gets them respect is their looks. So naturally, they're very insecure, quote, but actually it's just competition. Whereas, people who are in their 50s or 60s, their looks is much less of a, quote, insecurity, because they've just stopped competing in that particular area. Or if they are competing, they're competing maybe in a smaller scale about, trying to be the most attractive person in of their age bracket in their group of friends or whatever. So that's very important to understand. Just replace the idea of insecurity with competitive. So as a man, you're most likely trying to compete for women, or you're trying to stay competitive so you can keep your current girlfriend. You're trying to compete with other guys for status, and that's going to be based on your looks, your height, your age, your income brackets, the kind of job or business that you have, your personality, your ability to act with confidence, et cetera, et cetera. And so anytime you're thinking like, you're feeling bad about yourself, about the amount of money you have or the way you look, you're just trying to do better, okay? You're just trying to be more competitive. You just wish that, hey, I had the physique that this guy had. It's always in comparison to other people. Like if you were the last person on earth, probably wouldn't be worried too much about your physique, okay? Probably wouldn't be hitting the gym every day. Definitely wouldn't be worried about your money, because money wouldn't have a value at that point. You might not even look in the mirror for days at a time, okay? Because there's no one else that you're not going to be paying attention to fashion trends, okay? There's no one else to be dressing for. You're probably going to just wear comfortable clothes. You're not too worried about how you look, you're not worried about money at all. You're not worried about keeping the muscle on and going to the gym, because there's no one to compete with, okay? And if you don't think that you're competing, if you look carefully, a lot of the time it's not maybe someone in your direct reality, but it's the people within what I call the imaginary audience. Maybe you're still competing with guys from high school or guys from university, or it's competitive against, you're in sales and you're trying to compete with the other guys on the sales floor, and you're feeling insecure about your position there, or within the company hierarchy. And corporations they're living off of creating that insecurity and competition. When I worked in sales, when you made a sale, you had to ring a fucking bell, okay? And I got in trouble because I wasn't ringing the bell when I made a sale, because I didn't want to make the guys around me feel bad, oh, Will just closed another one, and it was just so transparent that it was like this Pavlov's dog, like basic human conditioning. And I just felt it was degrading to everybody involved, but they wanted to play on that. And that's why they had everybody's sales numbers up on the board. And the way they framed it was to celebrate your win. But really, when you're hitting that bell, the other guy's like, fuck, Will's pulling ahead. Is my job secure? Like, I've got to catch up. I could get fired, et cetera, et cetera. Playing on that competition. Or if it wasn't in that sense, it would be like, fuck Will, who does he think I should be number one here? He's got better leads, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what it is. Insecurity is competition. Okay, so that's the root cause, and that's the game-changing mindset shift. With that understanding, I want to give you a couple solutions on how to deal with your competitive nature. And the more of a natural go-getter you are, the more of a natural winner you are, and chances are you have more of those traits than the average person, because you're sitting here at 6 minutes into this video watching a personal development video. You want to improve. The only reason you're in self-improvement is because you're competitive, right? You're not liking your position. Maybe you're doing well, but you still want to be able to do better. So you're naturally going to be a competitive person, okay? And if you're feeling really bad and really down on yourself and you're depressed, it's almost certainly because you're not winning. You're taking too many losses. That's a large part of what's going on when people are depressed. Almost always when someone's depressed, their life's not good. Not in all cases, but in a large part of cases, they've taken a bunch of losses. They've taken a breakup, a business failure, or they're not able to get the kind of partner that they want, or they're not able to get the income that they want, and they're having to work a job that they don't like, that they feel is degrading. They feel that they should be at a higher status, a higher level. They want their life to be different. And they're competing from it. And when you're in that true depression, that's where you're feeling like you're giving up, okay? Because you're not winning the game, and you're taking losses, across the board. And too many losses in a row in too many areas, it's easy to slip into that depressed. So just recognize what's going on, okay? So number one solution is give whatever area that you're feeling insecure in, recognize that has value. A lot of guys will say, like, I shouldn't care so much about my looks or my physique or whatever, like if that's a value to you. When I was doing my values list this year, I realized like the way that I look was a much bigger value than I think. It's probably like top 3. Give that value. Don't negate it and say it's superficial. Like, give it value that, hey, you want to be clean cut, in shape, looking good. It's important. And the attention to females and the respect for men is important, and that's okay. So give it value. Find a way to link that goal of looking good or whatever it is to pleasure, and then try harder. Recognize, hey, this is a real value to me, or making money is a real value to me. My middle class parents might have told me, like, money's the root of all evil. Good Christian doesn't go after money. Rich people are greedy people. And so you're trying to negate that value. You're saying, hey, I really want money, but it doesn't have validity. But then you're beating yourself up about it because you're not winning in that area. Say that, hey, this is a top 3 value for me, and I'm allowing myself permission to go harder at that. And what can I do to succeed in that area? What can I do to turn that into a win? Okay, I got to get in the gym every day. I've got to learn the right routines. I've got to utilize progressive resistance. I've got to get my diet together. If you want to see how to do that, check over revolutionarylifestyledesign.com/body. That's my section on my site. Total minimalist style for getting your physique in shape. So recognize that it's a value. Recognize that you're not insecure, you're just competitive. And the way out of that is to do better and to get to a point where you don't have to play defense and justify your failures and try and do all these reframes. You can look in the mirror and be like, hey, I look good, or hey, I'm making 6 figures, or I'm making 250, or I'm making 7 figures. Okay, and it's okay to compete.